Hey, what's up, my royal priesthood? I know it's been a while since I've been steady making videos, but I want to talk about my experience of some things that happened while I was in the church. Are y'all ready? Let's buckle up. So this happened around early January 2022, earlier this year. I had fallen on hard times as I had been working as an independent contractor for a delivery company, and I was working in an office job. Well, I was a wireless retail person, and some things transpired, and I had to leave that job for my mental health. And up until that point, I had been working, keeping my car, and at this point, I was about to lose my vehicle. And I had been crowdfunding online, and I was connected to a pastor at the time that, I would go to for help. And it gotten to the point to where whenever I asked for help, they weren't able to help, so I took it upon myself to do what any independent grown adult would do. They would find a way. Hey, I had to do what I had to do, and I started crowdfunding. Well, at this point, I was kind of ill with the church at a point because of some things that had just happened concerning my transness and me serving. And I wasn't really feeling the church. I had just really started going back to church with friends at this time. So there was a meeting called between the pastor, myself, and a couple of other individuals. And what ended up happening, they were quote unquote concerned about me, about my well-being, but it was really what it was just to get in my business, sort of as a way to quote unquote help me. Well, during this intervention, everybody was telling me how me not telling them what's going on with me made them feel as if I didn't care about them, as if I didn't love them enough to tell me, hey, I'm going through a rough time. Can you all help me? Mind you, I am tapping into the various resources that are available to me as a Black trans woman living in America. However, so until things cleared, I had looked at some arrangements, waiting to hear back, doing paperwork, doing all of that. And at this point, I was on the verge of becoming homeless if I didn't find a place to stay at this point because of how wild my finances were at this time. And it was wild. So what was crazy to me about this whole so-called intervention, the fact that the main issue with them was they were offended because I didn't come to them instead of, how are we going to fix this? How we going to get this money up to help you? Like, how are we going to make sure that you said, if we have to go places with you? But that didn't come until later on in the meeting. And in this meeting was my former leader, of course. So my former pastor says, well, I looked online and I was disappointed by what I found. I'm thinking they done found some of my content that I make on the side with my alter ego. No, it was this. It was a post about me crowdfunding so that I would not lose my vehicle, which was my source of income at the time. Now, granted, in the month of May, I did end up losing my vehicle, which I don't regret, and I'm not ashamed. However, at this point, they knew that that was my bread and butter. And what my pastor said after this hurt me to my core. He says to me, he said, I'm rather hurt because you didn't think enough, as I put on lotion, of me to tell me that you needed help, that you needed me to, ask people to help you, or if you needed me to help you myself, we could have got you the resources. And as a result, I'm just going to have to block your social media. I'm just going to have to block you. And I'm like, mind you, I'm in the state of mind to where I felt hopeless, and I looked at him as my leader. And I felt very discarded and disrespectful because while I'm here suffering, I have given all that I had to this church. I had given a lot of money to this church, put in some time to this church, building this ministry up. And when I needed help, instead of sharing the crowdfunding effort and asking different people that they knew, because they knew I was scared, I didn't really know people like that when I moved here. Instead of helping me, they blocked me and basically Thank God I figured out a way to keep my car for a few more months, even though I ultimately lost it. But I was very hurt because I'm like, wow. And at that point, I had made up in my mind, you know what? I can't do this anymore. So I decided to start pulling back. And this is one of the reasons why I left the church. Because instead of it being a safe place at this point, it felt as if I'm not able to give what I was giving during my hard times, that I'm not good enough. All the work that I put in, everything that I did was not good enough. And that just hurt me to my core. And looking back over the meeting, looking back over how that situation occurred, I was hurt, and I was so focused on at least getting my housing taken care of, figuring something out, that I didn't realize until it got quiet in my life that was actually abuse. That was spiritual, emotional, mental abuse. And that was like some narcissistic, sociopathic behavior that was being displayed, which I am sharing my story, not being messy, but this is what people are going through. These are the things that are happening in the church. And watch this, watch. What made me talk about this here on this platform, I made a post on Facebook last week talking about the experience as I'm talking about it now, not dropping names, not dropping anything. I'm just talking about the experience. And someone commented, whom is this post about? And this was someone that is very close to this pastor. And I didn't respond at first. And then I just said, I don't do mess. And I left it at that. The next thing I know, I get an inbox from this person saying, if you're talking about my friend, you need to take this down. I didn't say you do mess and all of this. I left it alone. I'm not going to respond. And I'm like, why should I take something down when, number one, it doesn't pertain to you? Number one, I didn't say who, what, when, where, or who it was. It's like you're fishing for something. And it disturbed me, but it didn't disturb me. I laughed it off. I actually thought it was very funny, and I shrugged it off. Well, before I started making this series of videos, I got another comment from another pastor about this situation, and y'all see the post that I made. And this leader says, wow, no disrespect and no shade. You know, if you're making this post about my friend, then you need to take this down, because basically they've been nothing but good for you. They took you in when your peoples threw you out, which my family did not kick me out to cause me to move to DC. No, there was an incident where I was told I needed to find somewhere to stay because of an issue between me and a relative, but my family did not kick me out because of anything for me to move to DC. And then this person gets very transphobic, saying a lot of the issues that I had is because of that, and because I was focused on my transition and it was not that deep. And I took offense to the part about my transition, because it's not just something I'm doing, it's who I am. It's my identity. I am a woman of trans experience. Which I'm like, wow, we're going to play this game because I'm just merely talking about my experience of being blocked for crowdfunding. And I feel like this pastor's comments was actually a personal attack, especially it coming for my transition. And that just reeks of transphobia. And it sucks because during this time, a public announcement of support for my transition, it was a video up on social media and it's been taken down. The same church publicly boasted my transition, and this pastor was one of the ones that say, hey, I'll support you in your transition. But to be told backhandedly that I'm focused too much on my transitions basically for telling my truth, talking about my experience, I was hurt. And the fact that mental illness was weaponized, as well, saying that I'm seeking attention and I need professional help and my mind is damaged. This is all of that happened as a fallout of me telling my story. I'm okay. I'm safe. I have things set in order. But I just wanted to share my experience, because these are the things that are happening to people in religious and spiritual settings, not just in Christianity, but in a lot of these spiritual movements. People are being taken advantage of financially, mentally, emotionally, yes, and even intimately. Let's be honest. And I'm sharing this to help someone else that is going through the same thing, or somebody needs to tell their story. Thank y'all for listening to me. Thank y'all for following. Love y'all.